Good afternoon. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Point of View Uncensored. I am the host, Dr. Renaissance. I have my co-host Kimante, my other co-host Jason, and on Zoom we have our another host, Dr. Jake. Um, before how y'all doing? So before we get started, I want to give a moment of silence for DMX. We just found out that he had just left us from this earth. So a moment of silence, and then we can get started with our show. Okay. So we'll get started. So the topic of our show that we will be going into will be called it's entitled Police Brutality with the African American predominantly male race. So I want to start off with getting some topics. One thing we want to talk about is I'm sure you all know with Representative Park Cannon. She was arrested for knocking on the governor's door, and she was arrested by the Capitol Police, and now she's being charged with two felonies, serving possibly 8 years about that. It's 8 years. So I want to know what you guys think about that. What's y'all take on that? And do you think that she will serve that time, or do y'all think that she's gonna fight that case with the new DA that we have, which is Fannie Mae Willis? What do y'all think about that?
I mean,
Go ahead.
I just think it's ridiculous that an elected official just for knocking on the governor's door is drug out of the Capitol building by police, for all the world to see. And this is right after the Republican white governor got done signing the bill in front of a picture of a plantation in secret, right? Which is not normal. It's not the normal kind of protocol for those kinds of things. So I think that I hope she fights the system and things get resolved, because that is clearly an abuse of power regarding the governor.
Okay.
Honestly, I think that she definitely gonna do some time, only because of like just the first of all, she's a black woman. You know what I'm saying, and not only that, but it's not like they didn't know who she was.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as unless you can get a good lawyer that can somehow. I'm sorry, get a good lawyer where they can somehow like you just prove the fact that she went to jail and why she went to jail, it wasn't a just cause. So, ultimately I feel like she might have to bite the bullet on that just because of her circumstances and her power. And just not only that, but like when you're that close to, you know, those people, ultimately you start to see that they definitely they don't have your best interest, you know what I'm saying? So ultimately them putting them in jail, putting her in jail, to me it's not a surprise, because they don't want to see her, you know what I'm saying, like trying to fight for whatever she was trying to fight for. So that's what I would say.
And just think about even after that, when Coca Cola went and announced what they were doing, like now things are becoming financial, more political. Like why all of a sudden, like now Delta is denouncing voter suppression, and all these other companies are denouncing it, which has nothing. Republicans are claiming it has really nothing to do with politics. Do y'all think that business has a lot to do with politics, or you think it does not?
well, the economic infrastructure always gonna have a lot to do with politics. Um, Socrates made a statement: "You can't be in politics and be just." And I don't think necessarily that it was a guy on CNN that made a statement. I don't think necessarily that the politics has changed more so than the people that's behind the politics that's changed. We have a different dynamic of people. So if you ask me, does business affect it, then you have to one ask yourself, what is it considered to be a lobbyist? And now this is when you sneaking in different gems to the regular people that they don't want to get out. So when you talk about lobbyists, your former lobbyists are the ones that really, control your lawmaking decisions and what they feel is best for the infrastructure of your state, cities, road infrastructures, and everything, because they are the ones who's moving in, taking over, and taking control. Then you break it down to your politicians. Anything that you got going on through your city, they have to okay it. So then when you ask why things are happening to your city, it's a joint marriage. It's like asking God, saying that evil can't bless, but why not? Because it's a joint partnership. If you're gonna have good, you're gonna have evil. You're gonna always have the balance of powers in life. So absolutely.
And I want to go into another portion, which some people are feeling that as Black people, we kind of cause our issues. Like for example, Lil Nas X video. You know, a lot of people say those type of things are the reason why we're in those situations. I'm sure everyone saw the Cardi B and the Megan Thee Stallion performance on the Grammys when they were pretty much, you know, singing the song WAP on a national stage. So, what do y'all think about those type of things when you see Black people doing those type of actions? Do you think we deserve these type of actions for what's coming against us because of those things that we put out?
No, absolutely not. Because first things first, when we look at the system, we were talking about earlier, is the system itself promotes a lot of this, you know, even when it comes to the music industry and how people that talk about certain topics are played on the radio, you know. So do I fault our sis, Cardi B for talking about her pussy on excuse me, but talking about her vagina and all that on in her music because she understands that that's what people want to hear. And going back to like artists that, you know, I don't listen to Cardi B, but people like 21 Savage, like, you know, that's what the people want to hear. The streets want to hear this. They want to hear about when you know, when I'm shooting somebody, when I'm killing my brother. And so ultimately, but ultimately it does reflect our mindset in a way because we are listening to it, we are consuming it, but it's bigger than that because it's not only, it don't stop there. So it's not an issue that stops when the person listens to the music, is consuming it, or he purchased the music. No, it's an issue that goes beyond that because I believe that once, first things first, you know, the label execs, the everyone that's high up in the music industry are damn near not promoting it, but they want these people to talk about this type of stuff. So it's like, and it sells, you know. So it's like it raises a bigger question to me that needs to be addressed. The music industry as a whole needs to be owned by us. That's where I would like to go with the conversation.
Well, Jake, what do you think about even with the Cardi B performance and the Megan Thee Stallion, and then also even the Lil Nas X performance with him going down a pole to hell to, I guess, to twerk on the on Satan.
I agree a little bit with Kimante in terms of that, you know, either the African American community or even the gay community. You want to talk about Lil Nas X and his sexuality, you know, needing to, you know, be the driving force behind their message, right? So just because the streets want to hear 21 Savage talking about guns and, you know, getting girls, that doesn't mean that that's really the message that we should put out there, that we should encourage, is what I think. And at least for Little Nas X, you know, in terms of gay people, you know, for the last, you know, half century, hearing from the church that they're going to hell, they're going to burn in hell because of who they are. I think it's a way for Little Nas X to reclaim his sexuality and to kind of put a pie in their face, so to speak, and say, hey, I'll slide down a stripper pole to hell myself, and I'll prove you guys all, you know, prove you guys all wrong. I think there's that, and I think that at least with the performance by Megan and Cardi on the Grammys, you know, it's unfortunate, I think, today that Black women are so objectified. And you know, I don't know the right answer to kind of rectify that issue, but it's definitely has certain, you know, historical precedent in terms of, you know, slavery and generational kind of oppression and sexism and all of those things.
I guess okay. I guess when you look at it from that scope or whatnot, I guess one must ask themselves if you really want to change in the culture. I guess you have to look at yourself and ask, what are the inconsistencies that prevent me from becoming whoever it is that I'm looking to become or to be on the right path? I guess if you would say with the Cardi B situation, we have to look at what we're crying out for. We want as, I guess, black women to be respected. I guess we want equal pay. And above all, I guess we want to be looked upon in a high esteem if I'm understanding correctly when I hear the outrage of the black woman community.
Cool. Now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, my bad. I was just going to say, but then we have to turn around and look at what are we asking? Is it really feasible for us to obtain it? How can we obtain something that we don't portray in good light? We don't portray a good Afrocentric women in the media in good light. How can you portray what you've seen on the Grammys in good light?
Well, I want to speak to that real quick.
Go ahead.
I wanted to say, like, going back to my media question, I know, see, this is what I, it's so many layers to this conversation. So because we don't own our own media or popular media at that, it's hard to say we don't want to see that. Right. And a lot of people they follow the crowd mind, you know? So whatever is fed to them, they're going to digest it. You know what I'm saying? They're going to eat it up. So we don't have a case study to see whether or not if you fed positive programming to our people, you know, I mean, obviously it would take some time because we've been fed so much negative shit, and not only that, but what we've been through as a people. But just to look at it in a different light, we don't know what that would look like unless we can say, okay, let's try to put nothing but positivity in front of them. Let's take away the Grammys and have our own black Grammys and put on people that we want to see that really defines the culture. We don't have that, you know, in the way we need to. So we don't really know, you know. So going back to it, I don't necessarily think that black folks don't want to see it. 'Cause I think it's more people that want to see it. You know, not maybe I don't know. We have to figure that out as far as who wants to see it and who don't want to see it. But ultimately, I would like to say that the people that want to see it, it's some numbers for that as well. You know.
Yeah, I'm not in disagreement. I'm just saying to get better, one has to ask themselves, because for me to get better, I have to know the defects. I have to know what stems the cancer. I have to know the origin. So for me to get better, it's not for me to look upon anything and cast judgment or dispersions among. It's one to say, what is it that's ailing me that I need to correct? Only reason why I put it out there, because if you're going to say you disrespect it, but if that's the imagery that you're going to put up there, and not only put up there, because if you talk to Afrocentric women, they be like, well, Cardi B ain't even black. Okay, but then that's even more of a further stance to go. You let somebody outside your culture represent this after you're publicly saying everywhere you go that this is the result of it. Now, do you want to change the results? Because if you want to change the results, you got to change what's ailing you. What's ailing you is what you are putting out in the media. Like if you think about it to a degree in Afrocentric culture, you know what I mean? I'm being serious because nobody wants to look at that. Is high sex overdrive. But then what is your sexual overdrive? Is it a sexual overdrive that people are fond of, that they enjoy as a fantasy? No, they look at an Afro-sexual overdrive as a whole pillaging of the farm type of ordeal, or a slayer, you know what I'm saying? It's even demonized in its own regards, even by your own women. So when you look upon yourself, and that's the thing that a lot of people get mad and say, I cast judgment. I don't cast judgment. If one is to change, one must look upon itself as of a degree to change, because you have to understand where you are to understand the aptitude that you're trying to get. So then you go down further. If you want to have a culture of women that say this, and we got to run to them in a soft, fulfilled motion to carry that, but your male and your infrastructure are being killed. So then one must ask themselves in the culture, is it worth for one to be more disrespected or to be more hunted? Now we go into a very deeper situation, because now just as you disrespected, you have your whole male specimen over here that carries your seed is hunted. But you can't even address it, because what you got going on is what? Overly masculinization and sensationalized of the feminine, either calling of the imperfection in the society and disregarding their male, or what stems that they need to try to put back positivity with their males for it to progress forward. See, it's a broken language in there. And the broken language is she can't even know how to come at her male to understand. Think about a lot of males in their household, even when you want to excel. A lot of them, for them to even, reside peacefully in their household, they have to take the lesser of the role. Just think about it. And it's just something to think about. Why in our culture, you're hunted in this, and one side of your specimen sees this, but the other side is totally obliviated in the subliminal oppression that people never see.
Well, just think about. I mean, we had examples back in the 70s, and even to now. Like even to now, when you think about Malcolm X, or you think about Elijah Muhammad, those were examples back then. But look what happened; they got killed. Or even think about the Nation of Islam that's still here living well. Like people look at them as a standard, but then you hear other black people say, "Well, no, they this and they're that." So what do we say? What do we say about that when we do have those examples and people still not following? Or what's the reason why they're not following those examples that are with us now?
That's true.
Well, then you have to ask yourself, like me and you discussed before, how did we get to a world where people don't believe in truth? See, that's so powerful in its own self. When you don't believe in truth, you can't believe where to stand on. You can't believe where to go, because you don't even have a mere foundation of a structure that you really standing on that, and you believe in what you're standing on.
Almost like you live in a lie.
All the time. And that's what happened with our culture. See, math always going to add up. You can't speak about killing and think that same energy not going to come back at you. You can't think I'm going to send out 100 rounds and it ain't 100 rounds around that corner for you. Because for you to even acknowledge that it's a problem for 100 rounds, guess what that happened? You done caused that 100 round problem.
Yeah, so I mean,
I'm just saying.
That's true. Just think about, okay, we were talking about earlier who was talking about killing. Was it one of those rappers we was talking about? Which rapper we talking about?
King Von is one. RP to him,
Yeah, King Von. I know people had different. King Von, he was one. He got killed in the city he didn't even live in.
Right.
So that just speaks volumes. Like he got killed in Atlanta. He lived in Chicago. And think about the other rapper that got killed.
Pop Smoke.
Pop Smoke. All of them got killed. So just think about the things that they put out there. But again, who gave permission for those to be out there? They didn't just go out there by themselves and say, "I want to start singing about this and want to market it." Somebody's marketing them to do these things. So how do we tackle that? Like, if that's the only way they can get paid, according to them, what do we do about that?
You have to have your own media.
True.
How can you do it with all cynical? You got so much cynicism of your race. You know what I mean? You're talking about making a motion in a race or something, just like you talking about these views. The things that you're talking about having isn't popular. So when you talk about moving in the format that you need to move in, like, hold up, hey, we got to stop twerking for a minute to get this right. Hey, bro, I need you to stay off the gas so we can, go move this. What I'm telling you is comfortability is something that's unrivaled. It's hard to beat comfortability. It's hard to get the token Negro off his platform to come hate the one with the broken wheel wagon that's making noise, my friend. That's a long way from each other. Just like most of the brothers that you think that you need in society now, most of the educated brothers, the most enlightened brothers of our community, is no different than back in Jesus' day, don't have the funds. Because their ideas of how to live is so great, it crushes them. And even if you wanted to have a young lady next to you, it'll crush her. Mm. Because of the mental capacity you have to see the world. So if you asking even a woman to be with a man, a true man of our culture that could even understand that and why it's not happening, because we don't even understand what it looks like for them to be right there. I asked the young lady the other day, y'all always talking about Coretta Scott King, but then y'all bring up the infidelities and y'all bring up parts. But how strong really was Coretta to be able to stay in with a man that committed infidelity? It's powerful. because it was something more there that intrinsically that people couldn't see. They couldn't see that this woman loved this man, and this man really genuinely loved this woman, but the appetite that he had was so heavy that at night he might couldn't go home to talk to Coretta about nothing. Because the vision's so heavy. Because just like Joe, what happened, nobody knows behind closed door. What happened if Coretta had her moments? Because I'm pretty sure it gets tough. Just as if black society and certain black men of our leadership get exhausted about beating us over the head and thinking we should know. What happened, you think she didn't have her moments being a woman to a man? Like, people forget. Where he had to wonder why he missed her and stuff like that, even if that did go down to that capacity. But see, to be able to stick in with somebody like that for their imperfections, you got to have a whole nother level of a mind.
And I'm glad you talked about that, because I mean, when we think about nowadays, Derrick Jackson, he's like the relationship guru. But now we see that he has a video in front of that's his wife, I'm assuming, right? He's married.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's married.
Say
he
did. He was married or something.
He's married, and pretty much she's talking about how he cheated on her. So I mean, is she right for staying with him, or what do y'all think about that? Like, even in that situation, I mean, this is the relationship expert. Like, should she stay with him, being that he's a relationship expert?
Yeah, like that's all that is not facade, but all that is looked at and deemed.
Derrick Jax.
People put too much
esteem
to that type of those titles. I think that he's a man like any other man. Just because you know about relationship don't mean he ain't gonna make a mistake in one. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but it's like, okay, so this is a big topic because people don't like to talk about cheating. But like, let's be honest here. Like, you with somebody for a period of time, mistakes gonna happen. And the mature thinker or just somebody that can understand that way of thinking can reason with a man that may not have the strength to, because ultimately him stepping out is a testament, or is more so saying more about him than it is about her. So
I'm with you, bro.
Right. So
I'm with you.
But ultimately, the woman gonna have to understand. Gonna have to make two choices. She gonna have to either make the choice that she gonna want to stay with this man, even though he cheated, and they have to come to a resolution as to what's gonna be the solution to this problem.
So can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you mad at the hunter for having the duck catching the goose?
Explain it.
I get it, but
because that's all you saying. For women to be mad at Derrick Jax, you have to be going for it.
Yeah.
This ain't nothing new. I mean, are you mad at him suckering you into information that should be commonality knowledge, but for you to feel safe about what you doing? See, a lot of this come with the inflictions on your life. But for a whole million and some followers, because it's some lady that's coming up off him named TKO something.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of her.
She coming up off him. But just think about it. Functioning in chaos. She coming up off a chaotic situation. But you mad at the demise of his fall. He never came up with good intentions of the situation. His situation was always to catch the goose, because look at how he pillaged the farm doing it. See, it's my sisters not understanding, and I told you the B class of society of men. What real man, just think about it, gonna do something like that and come on TV and air it out?
Yeah.
That ain't, if killers move in silence and we got out, that ain't what real men we know do. So you want me to feel sorry for the nation of women that we have to look up at black men and get passed up over if you a good black man? I'm not talking about me. I'm just trying to say for good black men that you get passed over, and for gentlemen like this. See, the real man that know real work does real thing, and it's not necessarily the privileged household or anything like that, but just think about it like this. Grease monkeys, pavers, all that type of stuff is kind of outdated. If you ain't rapping, scheming, scamming, or a cushion job where you can spend all the time with your woman, then it's something else. But what's the problem with entrepreneurship? To be an alpha, you got to be willing to put all the game all.
I mean, it's just. I mean, you used to think about all these high profile people, even Jay-Z. You know, it came out that he cheated on Beyonce, and I mean, and she's supposed to be, you know.
But why does that
woman.
matter if it's nothing bad about you on the inside of you? Because that was a man handling his situation, how he handled it. Every man doesn't cheat. But if you go for the Kool-Aid or the goop, guess what? We got a nation of black women saying. Now we back at that word we talked about like last time. Niggas ain't shit. But then you casting that dispersion on the next man that you see that could be the best thing for you. That becomes the problem. That's the germ of the life. See, because then you have to get behind yourself and say, it's what I chose by what my interpretation of a man is. Because the woman, women don't like to get on this and they think, as you saying, as people come from me, but it's basic common sense. Yeah, men go out here and we hunt, but don't nothing happen until the woman say, yeah. You ain't in no relationship. I figure, you figure out stuff going along. Even that's why you see men get mad when they see their woman out, because a woman gonna do what she want to do, and you don't know to a degree in this society no more. So a lot of pains are inflicted on ourselves. It's just like our leaders in our world, like you said, Malcolm X. Well, hell, we killed them. I don't care who you got the green light from. We know they was of color. That's something we decided to do. That's something we have to live with. We can't just be like, why we talking about the FBI? Because at the end of the day, the buck stopped well.
With us.
But nobody wanted to accept accountability. Just like I was telling you about, as you see, homosexuality. I don't have nothing against the gay community, as you well know. But if you want to get behind it, just like I told this guy, like think about it. As a black man, and he couldn't even argue. I said, and he was a white guy. Before you even you never even question like a man like that. He didn't even know how to respond. Just think about it. I said, you gotta be, niggas ain't shit, fuck nigga. Oh girl, he gonna lay down on you. Oh girl, he want all the hoes. And then to come at the end of it to be like, okay, to introduce yourself, are you gay? Bro, that's naturally messing up the whole male. You know what I'm saying? Look at all what you got to go through. Man, it ain't all the other stuff before that. It's that before you get to being a man. That's your structure that you want to say is your patriarchal life. Understand what we're saying. Right, wrong, and different, because we're black men. We can synonymize, whatever the word is with this, because I'm tongue twisted right now. But just think about that. You got to go through that first. No other culture man has to go through that. Like I asked him, do you have to sit up here and be like, hey, your own women? You got to think what's the most important conflict? Your own women. Hey, hey, cracker, you ain't going to throw me no loot. Or, hey, cracker, that's not what's happening with their men. That's a regular verbiage with this. Mm-hmm. I'm going to let my man go because I know I don't want to,
I mean, on that topic, it's two things that you said that I thought was something that I wanted to address. I think the first thing was first, the topic of cheating. Is cheating a deal breaker? Because you
asking me or you just?
It's a question I'm posing to everybody, but
I don't think it should be. Everybody battle with their different things, especially with how life is.
I agree. I don't think that.
There's so much other stuff going on in the world.
Yeah, like 'cause I know some women that carry the energy where, oh, he cheat on me. That's it. I only got one time cheat on me. I ain't gonna deal with that. I ain't finna have no man, laying down on me, and whatever the case may be. So it's like
I really can't judge nobody because who's to say what's what dynamics that you have that doesn't override somebody else's dynamics, like to be that judgmental. Like to say a man should never cheat, okay, that's like to say a woman shouldn't have bad spending habits. You can catch that anytime. But is that person bad? Nah, they might just been functioning in life like you. Now, when they don't want to grow, that's totally different. That's why I asked, was you asking the question or?
Nah, it was open ended, but ultimately
Yeah.
the question is to women that think like that, because it's more so like a conversation piece that, like, if the greatest men of all time cheated, it don't leave a lot of room for anybody else. Not saying that don't mean everybody gonna cheat, but it lets you know that anything can happen, and based on just because you cheated, don't, like how you just said, don't demonize your character. It don't mean that you're not a great man
I got a
that
question.
made a mistake.
Okay, so when we get to talk about cheating, right? Is it because the thing is to address it and to get rid of it, I guess if that's what you're gonna do, we got to understand how did we get here. Like, are we talking about cheating? Is the hurtful part of cheating the act, or is it the part where it's like the lie?
Well,
Which one is it? Because we need to address which one of it is.
Well, I think we need to define what cheating is. Some people just think you looking at somebody, staring at somebody that's cheating. Of course, sleeping with someone that's cheating. So it really depends on what.
That's what I'm talking about. Is it the act or is it the lie?
I mean, more importantly, the lie will supersede anything.
So it's the lie is what your perception is. Because it's different things when you talk about stuff psychologically and you want to heal. It's very different.
I think it's better if you were to cheat, to be honest about it. I think it's better to cheat and be honest about it than to cheat and lie about it.
So it's not. Are we saying for males, is it not the cheating that get us on the perception of us what we really are doing or want to do, or when we're doing it, while we're doing it, or is it that we're saying that we're just out here acting irrationally and just doing things? That's what I'm trying to ask, because it's two different things that we have to evaluate at that point.
Well, I think that, and I guess I can't really speak for a woman, but it seems like to women, they look at it as if you cheating one time, it's like, okay, well, you can be doing it any other time. So it's like, okay, you kind of already messed up in the book. It's like in their head, you cheated every day.
So it's the act of it that really gets to, I guess, we should have a woman on here to talk, because that's been the mind-boggling presence to me. Because if you're going to say, this guy cheated, woo, 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 and you ain't got this male, all right. But now, if it's the act, what is the action that caused the act? That's what we have to get behind. But if it's the idea, then we're talking about a personality disorder of a person that doesn't have a discipline or can't maintain a discipline in themselves. So it's two different things that we're addressing here. Because if you're talking about an act and you not doing what you're supposed to be doing, but we going to just judge this man, then we know why we got this result.
Mm-hmm. And then it also...
you know what I'm saying? It's different things.
It raises the accountability question.
Absolutely.
That we always, as men, I think we had that unspoken, like, well, no, it's spoken. Men talk about it all the time. Women do not take accountability for anything that they do. So it's like, it started raising the question that y'all look at us because we have our mistakes, as we should, because we're human. We're going to have mistakes. But when it comes down and it's not a finger pointing game, but it is something that has to get put on the table at the beginning, because if it don't, then you start living, like how we said, a lie or an illusion, a fantasy. And then when things like that happen, which like cheating, stuff like that, you start thinking like, it kind of messes up this perfect world you're trying to build. You know what I'm saying? And another thing I want to talk about is the science of mating, because a lot of people don't necessarily, when they get with somebody, they don't plan with them. They don't build with them. So it's easy for you to say after he cheat, I'm leaving. But if let's say you get with a girl tomorrow and y'all start planning for y'all future, y'all start writing down the 6 to a year plan, or 6 months to a year step plan of how y'all gonna build as a unit, as a family, and build that black family, and how y'all gonna go about y'all empire. If he make a mistake such as cheating, it becomes a more diplomatic situation. It becomes more of a, okay, this is we have to address this like we would address something of like in court. You got a whole court damn near, because it's like it's not only affecting you or me, it's like affecting the whole structure that we were trying to build.
Because that's what you got to ask yourself, and I just want to ask because it makes a difference.
Yeah.
When you even think about it, if you're gonna say somebody cheating, what's going through their head? Do you think about, and it goes into who you pick too. as you said, you made some. Do you think about messing up what you got going on versus the rich reward? Because that's essentially what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth me going out there versus me destroying what I got here? And if you have a man and as a woman, and if he's saying that and he's just willingly jeopardizing himself, that's a reflection on you 9 times out of 10.
You think it's a reflection on the woman?
If it's not her fault, it's a reflection is not your fault. It's what he may feel about you in a certain way. Cause see, that's what we get caught up in is faults a lot of times, and when we just need to look at the situation for what it is. That's why I'm asking you, like, what is the thing with cheating? Like, what are we asking ourselves that this individual is doing?
Well, I do believe that cheating is caused by something else. Like, just think about like the Jackson 5 story, like in the movie where it shows that, you know, Catherine found out he was Catherine found out that he was cheating or whatever, you know, and she started beating him, and then after they had a talk, what was he saying? Like, he gave his explanation why he cheated. He's like, well, I feel like you wasn't around. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. And, you know, and she was, you know, you always see them same stories about what caused it. It's always, well, you just wasn't there and this person was here. They were available. They did things that you could not do. So that's why I did what I did. You know, so then it kind of seems like, you know, it's pushed off on the woman. Now it's like, okay, the woman might have been the reason why he was cheating. But in the same token, the woman might say, oh, well, you were wrong still. You know, they still hung up on you being wrong. Well, I never cheated on you regardless. I did this to you. I still never cheated on you. I still never did this to you. So it seems like no one wants to hold accountability for their actions. You know, it's like they're always pointing the finger at one person and not looking at themselves. I think cheating, when one person's cheating, I think it's on both people. I think both people cause that, in my opinion.
When you say just cause, but a lot of times we say cause and just leave it right there and think it's going to work itself out. The problem is when things happen, you never have a solution. And I tell people like this, even with a man, when he cheats, you don't have no solution. That's why I go all the way to the world. But if you go out there with a job and you get money, you're going to be like, hey, bro, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, do. All right, in regards to when it comes to relations, when you out there or whatnot, what like right now we asking, like, what solution are, because I know this big with people. You know, this whole cheating thing is big. So, but I always hear people always just bring up the problem of cheating. They don't ever bring up the ailments of what's, I guess, hindering the progression to move forward in a positive capacity where either it doesn't happen or it doesn't happen anymore. That's why it becomes a reoccurring issue, because instead of a beatdown session, it's nobody getting behind the stem of the problem. It's just like we talking about the government right now. What I tell you, everything went quiet. It's sad. I told my dad that it's sad that right now you have to express to people to still get up and go vote. Because like I told him, you can do all this you want to, Democrats, Republic. But if you don't get to the systemic problem about people not being educated enough about the government, about themselves and how systematic oppression is affecting them. People think systematic oppression is just like a relationship. It's just affecting them as what they see on the TV. They don't understand your relationship is getting affected every day. Every day, it's a woman's job to look beautiful. Every day you take a downtime, guess what? As a man, and you know he's a visual creature, if that's what you're going to say scientifically, every day you take a down day, guess what you're doing in your sport? You taking an off day in your sport. Every day as a man, you don't go take that trash out of wherever she wants you to do that. Then as a man, and you say I ain't doing it, you taking an off day. When you take an off day, that don't mean you don't lose no game. You just figure out other days or games to make up for it. The problem is we don't take accountability for that situation when it comes in, because we all think we're going to be perfect and wear white. But when it comes in, it's too late. We ain't see the fire before this tree, so now we in some shit thick.
I mean, just think even back then, like when people were cheating, they kind of stayed with these people, and I believe it was a lot worse than it is now. Like now, it seems like you look at somebody wrong and you in divorce court the next week. So why is it so much high divorces now? And people, I feel like people always been cheating, but why is it so prevalent to where people getting divorces now as opposed to, you know, back then where people kind of stayed with their spouses?
What person you know that grow up now that's in their 30s or 40s really that's done did really work? Being honest with you, like work. So you don't know what to take, the more that it takes to keep things together, to build things that's really worth something. Them people had to come through segregation and the civil rights movement together, so they had no choice. They couldn't run nowhere. All you had to do was look to each other. That's a whole different dynamic. When that's why I told you hope is a mug. You know what I mean? Whole different dynamic, because now I have to have hope with this individual that we can become one, the fraction one over the one to become one, to make this whole goal to go. Now it's a McDonald's society. So what work do you actually know to do to even maintain this relationship that you want? Because marriage is, man, it's hard. Being in a relationship is hard. But whoever done something hard, if you ask even your woman, people, what I tell you, we are so scared to fail that we can't get better. We're too much of a cynical creature. What woman want to say, you know what, I'm wrong? You know what man want to say, you know what, hey, I didn't do it. Look, I messed up. Babe, you know what? Hey, did you cheat? Babe, you know what? I fucked that bitch. You know what I'm saying? I did that. But this is what I want to do to get better. I had all that going on, but I didn't want to do this because this is what I'm suffering with. How many people are able to come in like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is not popular things when we go back to what we saying. So that's why I asked you why. Why does it hurt so bad? Because if that hurts you so bad that you can't go past, what happened when you kill a man's dreams or you kill a woman's dreams? You ain't do nothing but go out there and commit an act. But what happened while I'm with you 17 years or 20 years that women never see, and here you are, this whole baby mama, or like you was telling me, the divorce rate or whatever you want to call it, and you look up one day, you can't get that time back. You can't get back that feeling that that man never wanted that kid with you. But you got the residual from it. See, that's where the hurt come in. It's not actually what's going on. That's why I asked you, it's the residual that you coming with it. So that's the problem that we have in our society. It's not the fact that men cheating, like you said, that been going on. They leaving a lot of residual right now. You got a lot of black women that's strong, good women, and shout out to them. They got more than one kid with no father. But then you got to look at your math. And if you got a man that got a whole bunch of different women with kids, and you got friends that you know that ain't got no kids, my math should tell me as women, we are having sex with the same men. We're in the same pool, because if it's men without no kids in my 30s and I got dynamically multiple kids with a man that already had kids, what is my choice am I doing? Because my number's not adding up. But that's just like a man that say, I don't see no real black women. Well, what's your dating pool? And then you'll know your numbers. I'm going to leave it alone, but I know we vibing.
And then I was thinking about, I just had a point where even like with women like a lot of times I know it's like even men that don't have children, like it seems like most women have children. So it's like who wants, honestly, if a man doesn't have children, you think they want to be married to a person that already has kids? You gotta look at that too. Some people might be like, okay, I want my first child to be her first child. And with a lot of cases, you see like a lot of women already got kids already, and then that's the whole mama baby daddy issue, because now the baby daddy is saying, I want him around my child, and that's a whole different ball game. Because like so we don't, as you can see, we don't work well together. So what do you do in those situations with the baby daddy on this side telling you you can't be with my child, and then now the child's confused?
You want to take that one? Because I know you was like.
Nah, it's so much to uncover here, and I ain't gonna lie. I started to see. I don't mind. I started to see myself in this. Not like I did it, but just how I grew up in the dynamics of having a single mom raise you type shit. So like, ultimately, what that does is it create a hella imbalances and hella. You have to really unlearn a lot of different things as a man, and if you're a woman in that environment, a young woman, growing up into that environment. So I wanted to go back to what you said before about I believe you was talking about, dang, what was the question?
That's all good.
About a man with no children getting with someone that has children, and men not want to be with women that already have children already, because of the whole baby daddy issues and stuff like that.
Okay, so it's two things I wanted to address.
Go ahead.
Okay, so with the whole not want to get with a woman with children, I understand that because of course that it just don't make sense.
It's an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, it don't make sense. Like if you stayed down, not saying if you stayed down, but if you was able to get to this age and not have had children, and you don't want somebody that already been out there and had kids, and even if you're not a virgin and you had sex before, it's still the principle of you're gonna have dealings with this man. As long as y'all have to connect it to this baby, you know what I'm saying? So do I want to, as a man that don't have any kids, so do I want to deal with that? Do I want to be in the so it's a topic that you just gotta answer.
I got a question.
If you're that man,
and I know women ask that question. I got a question. If you got kids, what's the risk reward?
Legacy.
What to a man and I have to tell women this because they get mad. As one told me in the car the other day, she was just like, "But it's y'all that go to the other races," and I don't think people understand enough about other things to understand. It's some coaches out there who have anal sex just so they can maintain the purify their virginity. It's a lot of other things that happen to make this virgin thing purer than what we make it. So if you don't value yourself and the chastity of yourself, and not just we talking about being virgins, I'm talking about not even what your idea, what it is that you think you need in a man. Like, don't marry what you want, marry with, kind of what you need. Like, you need somebody that's gonna walk the straight and narrow, that's a good, genuine person. You don't need nobody that's, they fly in the club or they make these type of moves. Like, we don't have people that's raising people that's solid. And no, that's real because you seeing the product. As you tell somebody, like, look at Lil Wayne, but Lil Wayne got mad at Young Thug, but I had to tell him, bro, this the product of you, Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
This what you made. All the foul stuff that was in your music about women, here you are. If you don't like it, because I don't see no different besides the whole literature and wordplay. If somebody knows something different between Lil Wayne and Young Thug, please let me know besides the delivery. But the content is basically the same.
Nah, I ain't going.
You don't think so?
I ain't going. The reason why is because Wayne is
Oh, I'm sorry. What's the different content? I want to know.
I would say
Yeah.
I would say Wayne is more of a lyricist.
Right.
I would say that I would say that Wayne has a little bit more to me, just all around.
I agree.
Music sense.
I agree with everything.
But I feel like the Young Thug versus Lil Wayne conversation is a piece that I think that it's laughable almost because it's like
it's not literal. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
One birthed the other.
You made a
One birthed the
making
other.
a comparison based on influence.
Yeah.
But it's not like it'd be different if Young Thug was better than Wayne and at rapping. But it's not like that. It's more so like he's a carbon copy and he took his own wave and kind of finessed it.
Aren't you glad that he's not better than Lil Wayne? What would the universe look like then?
It'd probably.
I mean, not
aspect?
Lil Wayne. I'm talking about Young Thug.
In what aspect though? Like as far as like
in the early aspect of what topics he rapping about, because you gotta think he's on the same thing, no different than Lil Durk and all them boys talking about killing and all
people.
that. Yeah.
Right.
Imagine if he was leading the universe like Lil Wayne. Now what we would have out here.
Well, all right, that just wraps up our first episode of Point of View Uncensored. Again, I'm Dr. Renaissance, the host.
Kimante Martin.
Jason Roberts.
Jake, you here? Okay, Jake not here yet.
And we got Jake.
And we got Jake.
Dr. Jake. Dr. Jake is here. He's on our Zoom with us. So I hope you all will subscribe to our show. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace out, y'all.